times.
Well, and everybody here is...
Big group of white people hanging out.
But everybody here is willing to reasonably have a discussion. You don't find that in a lot of places.
I don't really have that discussion in Bastrop.
No.
Racial tensions in Bastrop, it's
They're very high.
always have been. It's always been East Texas encroaching on Central Texas. It's always interesting.
Well, yeah.
No, Marco? You need to look at that. Oh, sorry. So, Marco, just to let you know, the hearing today is being recorded, so we're going to identify everybody for case purposes for that. So, if you go ahead and let the recording know who you are.
Marco Solorio DRB.
Tiger Hand, attorney representing Officer Solorio.
Pam Sanders, HR Director, City Building.
Chris Noble, Oakland Police Department.
Patrick South, Chief of Police, City of Oakland. All right, so we're hearing in reference to case 2020-02, where it is alleged, Marco, that you involved or acts involved by you or sustained allegations of criticism of official acts and obedience. Did you receive your notice of sustained allegations?
Yes.
Do you have any questions on that?
No, sir.
Okay. So, I'm going to just ask a couple of questions to kind of walk through the process of how we got here today. It's not going to be too significantly long, but I'm going to ask you a few more questions. So, I'm going to go all the way back to when you were first contacted or sent an email, or not an email, but a text message by David Burlaw. Basically, it was about the survey, right?
Yes.
Okay, so kind of start at that point. What was about it? What was your understanding? And then kind of move forward through the breakfast.
So he sent a message about participating in the survey. He did really put what it was about. And then I said, yes, for sure. And then following the weekend, he sent another message asking about the survey again, but this time it was focusing more on the ISU. Didn't reply back to him. Went to...
That was the long one that had about...
Yes, that was the long one.
It goes to me, then goes to city council, or the city manager, then city council.
Yes,
and then you.
that was it. I was out all week. Came to work. Came to work. When was it? Was it Wednesday? It was Wednesday. I sat here for a couple hours. Before I head home, I asked Wooten, and I called Wooten, asking him if he was going to have breakfast. So I can...
How did you find out about the breakfast?
Well, I called Wooten, and I asked him, hey, so, hey, what are y'all having for breakfast? He's like, we're over in the lease goes. They're all going to do it. I was like, okay, cool.
And you kind of figured out what was going to happen.
I figured he was going to talk about the survey deals. So we got there, we had breakfast, and from then on, you already got the rest of the story.
Well, we're going to keep going.
Okay.
So, that's part of this. So, who participated? And it's really not a breakfast. You all had a meeting to discuss unionized effort to, I guess you can call it a conference vote or whatever it is. That was the purpose of doing the breakfast, correct? To have that conversation.
I didn't know it was going to be for that, but figured with the survey, the messages would have turned out to be yes.
All right. So, who was at the breakfast with?
With Dickerson, Wooten, and David Earl.
And tell me about some of the conversation between the individuals at the breakfast.
So most of the talking was done by Gerloff.
So let's start there. What was he talking about?
So he kind of said why he was terminated. I don't really remember. I wasn't really paying attention much to what they were discussing. We did talk about tasing that back in December. We did make fun of the guy, and that's my fault. I shouldn't have brought that up. Me and Dickerson were kind of flirting with the waitress a little bit here and there. But it was mostly Gerloff basically complaining about it.
What were some of the things he said?
Honestly, I can't remember that far back, but
General topics.
he was just, I guess what you would say, bitching about how unfair he was treated. And
would it be reasonable to assume that he didn't necessarily have a positive view towards me, Commander Noble, or the department as a whole?
well, if I'm being honest, he didn't really talk much about. Well, he did actually say he was pissed off at you, or he felt like he was targeted. really say much about Commander Noble or at the time Commander Terror.
Just me.
Yeah, mostly, and several other officers in the department.
Several other officers in the department.
It was mostly him talking about Acuna.
Did anybody at the table participate in that conversation or add to that? Or
I think we all did, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
so tell me a little bit about that. So what were comments made by each boards?
Mostly it was just kind of asking Gerloff what the reason of the survey was, and I know they were concerned, mostly Woodman and Dickerson were concerned about retaliation for taking the survey. I didn't really engage into the conversation much. I mean, I wanted to get home. Like I said, I had a finger and I wanted to go home, have breakfast, and get out of there. So, yeah, but mostly their focus was on retaliation about the taking the survey.
So did Kyle, or your boards make any negative comments in reference to the department, myself, being Noble, or anyone else in the department?
Not that I recall.
If somebody else in the restaurant said that occurred, would that be unreasonable?
It's like Commander Noble told me about my perception, so I would imagine that person heard him say anything negative, and that's how they perceived it.
Is it possible that you might have missed that part of the conversation?
I believe so, yes.
So when y'all were done there, what happened?
I went home and got a call the next day from Dickerson. He's like, yo, well, I didn't answer. I was laying on the couch, resting my arm on the couch rest. So I was laying down and called me. I didn't pick it up. It's an emergency. I thought it was going to be, hey, help me translate or something. So I called him back, and then he's like, yo, we'll come to your house. And I was like, okay. So they came over to my house. We talked for about 5 minutes. They basically said that you had chewed their asses out that next day in the morning. So they came, all 3 of them came over to my house, and I thought they were pranking me. I didn't know it was going to go this far, but it turns out it was all real.
So when you had that conversation about me bitching them out, how did you describe it?
Yeah, they basically said that you bitched them out, and yeah, you were upset, and told them to, excuse my language, get the fuck out your office. I believe that's what they told me, and they now going back, I do remember them saying something about something that had happened earlier that morning, I guess, in the department. I don't remember. They said something else that happened earlier that morning. I don't recall them.
So you didn't notice it, do not discuss or?
No, something else. I think something about to do with the cleaning.
Oh, they had to clean the
Yeah,
station.
they had to, yeah, we're gonna clean the department now. Okay.
So that general conversation, did you all discuss at any point in time what your responses were going to be to the questions given to you?
Yes, we did. So when they all came to my house, basically they were like, well, y'all remember what we talked about? I was like, honestly, I don't remember what y'all talked about, but we were just there for the survey.
And what was the group's decision about what to talk to or not to talk about?
It was just going to be about the survey.
So you weren't going to say anything else about what anybody said other than this survey?
Yes, sir.
And then what happened after that?
So, I believe I got that email later around 5 p.m. from you. So I called Lieutenant Noble and I was like, well, maybe they're not messing around with me. So I called in and I was like, hey, you need me to come in the office and give my side. Joking around with me, pranking me. Turns out it wasn't.
So in your first interview with Commander Noble, you initially made a bunch of comments like you all had discussed that you did not recall any of the other conversations,
Yes.
is that correct? And at that time, you were not being truthful, were you?
Sure. Yes.
So after that, tell me what happened same day?
So I had a
Take
second,
that, Howard.
I had a second interview, and as I told, failed to disclose that they came over to my house, and we talked.
You asked to have that meeting with Commander Noble,
Yes,
correct?
yes,
On your own?
yes.
Why did you change your mind?
I didn't want to get in trouble for nobody else's mistakes. And like I said, I can't testify to what they did, but I can sure say what I did. And I know I didn't do nothing wrong on my part. So, other than, I guess, not telling them that came over to my house the next day.
Do you have any questions?
No. It, you know, the chain of events was that he approached me as I was walking out the door to go to the all-staff meeting, and then wait for him. Or he would wait for me. He was already off duty or going off duty.
Yeah, it was that day that had the shoot out at 210 Maple.
Yeah, and then when I got back, that's when we talked until about 8:30, 9 o'clock. And then he came back at 10 a.m. the following morning for a statement.
All right. You're good? Any questions? All right, do you have anything else that you want to talk about or say, Mark?
No, sir, I just want to get my punishment and then get over this.
Now, you and I actually had a conversation subsequent to this. Tell me about that conversation.
Well, like I told you, I would like to apologize if at any point we did say anything bad about the department. And like I told you, I really appreciate what y'all did for me. I sent me the academy and all that, and that's all I have to say. I mean, I can't say nothing else.
Was this a learning experience for you?
Oh, yes, yes, sir. It's, like I said, I believe the past month and a half, this is all that's been on my mind, and I just want to get it over with so I can get back to my regular patrol duties and start kicking ass and taking names again, so.
Tiger, do you have any questions?
No, sir.
Y'all go ahead and wait outside for me. Back in just a few minutes.
And the whole thing is that simple.
Is this his first IHN?
Yes. And, his comment when he approached me, that he wanted to set the record straight, clear the air. He said, because I'm not going down for anybody else. And we had that discussion that, oh, let me turn this off.
How long do you want to put him on?
Really engaged, but the other two were, particularly the and she thought Gerloff still worked for her, probably she knew him.
Okay. We are reconvening the disciplinary hearings in Marco. Same members and the same individuals are present in the room. We need changes. We talked about this being a learning experience for you, Marco. As a young officer, you know that your integrity is the biggest thing that you can have.
Yes, sir.
Before I decide what direction this one, I'm taking a couple things into consideration. One, while you were initially untruthful, you accepted responsibility for that and you came forward. You didn't have to be re-questioned. You're the one who did that. Okay? So while you did make a mistake, you did everything you could to rectify it. Second of all, as I think with everybody in this group, you all have learned that a disgruntled employee doesn't necessarily have your best interest in mind. And it's been a learning experience for you. And now granted that David was a sergeant in the police department for a long period of time, and you probably respect him, you still like him today. I mean, not a bad person, he just made a lot of bad choices. So he may have actually impacted to some degree in your decision making. Have you learned that that's not something you want to let somebody do?
He doesn't pay my bills.
All right, so it's my determination that I'm going to give you a written reprimand. I'm sustaining both the obedience and criticism of official acts. Hopefully we've learned from this experience going forward and continue to be a productive officer for the department. Commander Noble will issue your written reprimand once it's prepared probably next week. That's it.
Thank you. I'll check the reports.
Told you it'd be quick and easy.
Oh, appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, man.
Your candor, refreshing.
Thank you. Thanks.
You're a good officer. You continue to be. Chief said, you've learned it. Learned enough. Learned a lot on this. All right then.
All right, appreciate it, guys.
We can fix things a lot of the times if people are just honest about it.
All right. Yes, sir.
All right.
And again, I apologize, and like I said, it's going to be a good learning experience, and I'll try to, well, I'll do my best.
No, we know you will.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you, guys. Take care.
First one could have been that quick.
That's very nice.
Next one's going to be a little bit more.
You said something, this is off, right?
Is your camera on?
No, it's off. Well,
I'll go outside. The board says in here yet, is it?
I don't know.